I think Trump died in a helicopter crash. No, come on, check out this. He was in a helicopter crash.
It almost like destroyed the whole building.
Traditionally, Sweden isn't a place where people lose it so much that they have to go and do that.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know.
shit,
That's what's so weird. Yeah. And every newspaper here, every news outlet are fucking biased.
Yeah.
To the left.
Yeah. A newspaper or the media is just supposed to be giving you the facts without trying to manipulate your thought process.
Well, that's obviously not the case here. Castles in the brain built from sheer might. Journey through thoughts, take a fearless flight. Mental empire in sight is dynamite. All right, man. Well, the bomb that exploded, craziest shit ever. I was just sitting home. I was just photoshopping, and I heard this large bang. And usually they have some construction work, like outside my apartment. I hear that shit all the time. So
because they're doing, they're breaking down rocks and stuff, trying to.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So I was sitting there and I heard this large bang. I thought it was an earthquake first. So I ran up to a window. I saw this guy and he was like all blacked out. He ran up the street. Okay. And looked super suspicious.
Okay. They're not doing any construction for the what do they call it? That train thing. What do they call it? You know, the Vestlink.
No, not really.
Yeah, they're not doing anything.
No. This guy set up a bomb.
Yeah,
he detonated the bomb.
Like I know. But you mentioned that they're doing. I know, but you mentioned that they're doing construction work there.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what the construction work was about, if it was related to any of it. But
I mean, I don't know, but I just know that sometimes, like I can hear those like large
detonations,
those big fucking, explosions, and but this time I can tell like this wasn't one of them.
Okay.
Anyway, we're live.
Okay, should we introduce ourselves or something?
Can you give me a glass? Can you give me the glass? Thank you. Let's take some Bausaw, small bitch, extra American whiskey company. Actually says small batch, and I just pulled that joke in the last episode. Pull again. I can't drink too much, so I'm gonna be driving.
Okay,
that's pretty much good. Yeah. You want some?
Might try some later, but I was thinking about you did some brandy, but just let's proceed.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
You don't even have anything in it.
Okay, well I'll take some.
Fuck.
Should have had some scotch straight up.
Fill that up.
No. Just
all the way to the top. All right. You want to do a cheers again?
Replay. Cheers, mate.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Ooh. Yeah. So about the bomb, I was sitting in my room,
photoshopping.
I was like photoshopping some shit, and I swear to God, I was like, I thought it was an earthquake first because it was so close.
Okay.
And something exploded outside, and my screen was literally shaking. Went outside to my window, and I saw this guy running up the street, and then it took like 2 or 3 minutes. The police was there, and then the fire department and everybody.
Did you see, when you looked out and you saw him running, did you actually see the place that was being bombed? Did you actually see the damage?
Yeah, I went down. It was like 50 meters down the street.
But when you looked out the window and you saw him running, did you see where he was running from?
Well, no. So he detonated the bomb, and then he ran up the street.
So how far away from when you saw him, and then now with retrospect to where the actual detonation took place, how far was he away from it when you saw him running? How far away was he, would you say?
I would say maybe he ran like 50 meters
so
after the explosion.
You couldn't see where the place was that he
Well, I knew where the bomb came from because I could see the smoke from my kitchen window. And then I saw and when I looked from my bedroom window, he was running up the street.
Okay.
So,
so your bedroom window and your kitchen window facing the same direction?
No, they're not. So my kitchen window is facing that way. It's like across the apartment.
Okay.
To the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so and that's what happened. And a few neighbors got him on camera. They were filming with their phone, and you could like see his face clearly.
Okay.
But they didn't catch him.
When you saw the thing, did you see clearly it was the same guy, same way he was dressed, everything? It was the same person then?
Oh yeah, I mean there was like multiple neighbors that got him on camera, running up, talking on the phone, and running from there. It was obviously him.
Well, so obviously, run from the scene and you become guilty. But if he'd been walking, do you think he would have?
Well, it's crazy because I thought about that. If I was in his
situation,
I'll
be like, "Wow, what happened?"
I would just detonate the bomb and like, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah,
call the cops too.
Yeah. Because they only saw what happened after the detonation. He could have been anywhere or anyone, and just oh, shit. Oh, the piece of glass cut me in the forehead, and wow,
It's so crazy. Yeah, well, I went down there. There were 3 people coming out the building. One was coughing like hell.
Because he got smooth fumes.
Yeah, probably. And the second one, he was leaning against the cop car and he was like almost puking. And the third one was laying down on the grass and he was like trying to get air. And the ambulance was there. So
this happened today or was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. Well, around 11:30.
11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, no, in the night.
In the night. Okay.
Yeah, so 23:30. If we want to.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. Do you know the I don't want to say the surprising because it was a surprise, but so the most shocking thing or the worst thing about this situation that you're talking about right now is actually how commonplace this has become.
You mean in Sweden?
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I mean, about 10 years ago, there was the Hells Angels and bombings and Bandidos and their bombings and shit. Kind of tapered off, wasn't happening so much. And then now all of a sudden, it's kind of taken up again, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely ramped up for these couple of years because I remember like these kind of bombings were so unusual. I mean, the first one I ever heard of was actually in my home city.
What is the name of your home city anyway?
Linköping. Yeah. That was the first one I heard about that was like massive. It was insane. It tore, I think it's like, it almost like destroyed the whole building.
Traditionally, Sweden isn't a place where people lose it so much that they have to go and do that kind of shit.
I know. That's so weird. Yeah.
And I mean, historically, there is no reason for it. And I mean, and then the perpetrators, they're not exactly disgruntled Vikings, if you want to say, oh, Swedes have got some kind of untapped rage lying somewhere, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, no, obviously, like they're gang members. And well, from what from what people have told me, I think that this has something to do with the warning. I think like
with the what?
Yeah, it's a warning. Like
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, detonating a bomb like that.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, it's not like it's you see. This is the thing. It's not political because there is no that kind of politicism in this country. Is not gonna. There hasn't been that kind of you recognize our struggle kind of thing. That's not gonna happen. There hasn't been a need for that. This is somebody owes somebody money or something, and I want my money back, bitch. Otherwise, I'm gonna blow up your shit.
Yeah,
it's basically that.
Yeah, I mean, or it could be way deeper than that too. Like,
well, but I mean, I'm not gonna say that it is specifically is something, but I think it's something more along those lines, whereby somebody owes somebody something, and the person who's owing is just because of the hard times.
Right.
There's two things in play here because. I would say partly because of, just around the corner, they blew up some shit, right? Just around the corner from this place, around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, actually, 2 or 3 months ago?
Yeah, it was up the street at this street, but further up.
Yeah. The guy who runs the antique store around the corner.
Right, yeah.
He's a friend of mine. He's called Carl.
Well, but the gate that they blew up was in front of that one.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was another one actually just across the street. It was like a clinic.
Okay.
They blew up that one. Bro, there's a video of that. Oh my God. You can see him run in.
Okay.
Placing the bomb at the I think it was in the toilet or in the bathroom. And then he walks out. And as he's walking out, the shit explodes. And the wave that comes from that literally opens the door for him.
Oh shit.
And he just sneaks out like nothing happened. I never seen anything like it. It's so calm. Like he just fucking.
Well, you have to be prepared.
And the receptionist.
Holy shit! Do you know? There's another place. I can't remember the name of the street, but you know the place, that restaurant called Spanish Kitchen. You know, there was a place where there was an entrance to some apartments on the opposite side of the street. It was I think it was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. There was a detonation down there as well.
Oh yeah, that was the crackhead that did that.
Okay, so I mean, there's a trend. I mean, you probably find. I mean, the question I would ask is, where do they get the materials from? You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean explosives?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Obviously, you could go on the internet and learn how to make it, I suppose, because it's plastic or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they have forensics to examine the residue to see who's making what. And, you know, if someone is doing it all the time, then you'll see there's certain kinds of, you'll see there's certain kinds of, traits like, oh, that guy, when he makes his explosive, this is how it's done, or this is how he does it, or if there's more people making these bombs, or if they're just buying stuff. I mean, it's not like someone just threw a grenade and chucked it in the window.
No,
you know what I mean?
So I think I just Googled here real quick. Actually, the homemade. So there's different types of them, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You have the homemade bombs, which is like they just take an aluminum or like a metal tube and just fill it up with like explosives and fucking nails and God knows exactly pipe bombs.
Yeah.
And they just fill it up with God knows what, and then they set them up. Me personally, I don't know how what the ingredients are, but maybe they're like breaking into construction sites and taking like maybe dynamites and things like that.
The ingredients, I mean, you can, anything that, I mean, for example, now, plastic explosive, which is an oil-based, carbon-based kind of thing, you know, I mean, I don't know how to make bombs, but if you compact it in the right way and then excite it with the right kind of whatever, then you'll get the effects you desire. I mean, you know, you could use it with petrol, but it's not going to give you that bang.
Right.
So you're going to make it burn. When you want to make a bomb, you want to get the flammable substance and mix it with something that will just burn really quickly and expand very quickly, and then put it in a compressed situation so that when it does go, it goes boom.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, when I was
Are we telling our audience now how to make a bomb?
No. No. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Don't
try this at home. He doesn't know what the fuck
do not try
about.
this at home.
Yeah.
No, I mean, when you look at it, what I mean is like, I mean, when I was a kid, I used to, when we celebrated Christmas and stuff, we didn't have any particular time where we used to use fireworks. So there were some fireworks that were available, and I think at that time China was just beginning to have a little bit of influence. So we were, we bought these fireworks and stuff. We used to let them off and stuff, and I remember when I was in England, when I was a kid in England, we had Guy Fawkes Night. And you just light off these rockets because it was the celebration of the 5th of November, you know, when that guy. And so I was always, I mean, I'm not saying I was always exploding and blowing things up, but as a kid now, you're just going to play around, you know. So anybody who's just, maybe I shouldn't talk about that.
Well, let me ask you about the Guy Fawkes. So Guy Fawkes, that's the guy, that's the V for Vendetta.
Yeah. But that's not him.
But I know. Guy Fawkes was this revolutionary guy, right?
Yeah, he wanted to blow up the Houses of Parliament.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think there was a Netflix documentary. It was like a series about him. Him and his 3 companions or some shit like that. Can't remember. Anyway, but so is that something you guys celebrate every year?
Well, you know, when I was a kid, we used to do this thing. We used to go penny for the guy. You'd have this. We'd make a mock-up guy.
Yeah.
You know, just a doll, push him around in a wheelchair and say penny for the guy, right?
Oh, really?
That's what we used to do. And so we get money for the guy in the, you know, and then we use that money to buy fireworks and let them off on Guy Fawkes Night and chuck the guy on the fire. That was just what we kids used to do. So yeah, we just run around, go to different places. Penny for the guy, penny for the guy. And that was it. Sometimes we make the guy. It was what's the word I'm trying to find? It was an exercise in in creativity to make it look as realistic as possible.
Right.
And so, we always try to make it look like a real person, but, just, make it look really good. You could buy a Guy Fawkes mask, which was a bit like the ones they showed, but it was like different faces and different colors, paper mache or whatever.
Right.
And then, put him in a pram or in a chair or just put it outside. It was like this, it's like still art, And penny for that's a nice one here. 50p or something,
Oh, so like that's how we do to collect money.
Yeah, we usually we collect money.
Well, I'm not familiar with that because we don't have it here in Sweden.
No, exactly.
I think so. I don't know.
This is why kids used to go outside and play.
Right.
This is the things kids used to do.
But let me just take you back to the
bomb.
The bomb. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I just want to dig deeper into like what do you think
caused it?
For the person that puts a bomb there, they don't have any clue who it can hurt. Because obviously there's a lot of people living in that apartment.
Well, yeah, I mean...
And people are living around the apartment.
Here's the thing.
So what do you think is going on in their mind?
I think the person who put it is contracted.
Obviously, yeah.
The person who put it has absolutely no connection to the person being either warned or threatened. And it's just like, look, here's somebody put that there. That's set up for sure.
Well, yeah.
So they're not even going to give a shit because as far as they're concerned, they were just paid to do one thing. And if it hurts, it's not really their problem. They're just, they had a job to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so they have that, not so much plausible deniability or responsibility. It's beyond, it's not even that. It's just like, okay, I want some money. I'll do that for money. And, somebody else can take the blame because basically it's not them. They didn't make whatever it is. They have no idea how powerful it is. And they can blanket themselves in that disconnection from what took place because they, as far as they said, they're probably just they were asked, they just did a job,
right? See, I have such a problem with that because like,
yeah, you're right. You should. So, it's because even if the cops caught that person, he's not the person who's ultimately responsible.
Well, not only that, it's the thing too where like you're doing this heinous crime.
It is
where you're not thinking about anybody else. You're just trying to threaten one person that lives in that apartment building, and you don't give a fuck about anybody else that lives there or who it could hurt if there's kids there or if there's...
By the time sorry to interrupt you. By the time that person accepts that job and takes the money. They're not going to think about it. They're just, put this here at this address at this time, and that's it. That's all they know. You understand what I mean?
I do understand, but it's like...
the people who sent him might have more understanding, and they might have even been subcontracted out. You understand?
Yeah, it was way deeper than that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So even if they catch the person, there's no guarantee that it's... I mean, if I hated somebody, it's okay, I'm going to put a bomb in his car. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But if I hire somebody else to do that, who doesn't even know who the car owner, who drives the car, whatever. I mean, you look what happened in Russia, right? That guy, that Russian guy who was blown up by those... the Ukrainians sent someone to blow up his car. He survived, but his daughter got killed.
Really? When was that?
This was like 2 or 3, about a year or two ago or something. Russian guy who got his daughter got blown up. I think she was a journalist or something. Now, the people that did that, 1 or 2 of them got caught. I think they caught somebody. And, well... I mean, they're not Ukrainians, but they were just subcontracted to place a bomb. They didn't make the bomb.
Yeah, well, here it says, the daughter of Putin's brain audiologist was killed in a car explosion.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah, that's probably it. That one?
Well, yeah. Keep
going up or down?
Okay, you need to go up a bit.
Okay, let's see what the fuck is up. There we go. Well, I mean,
that's the only thing I got from it. Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
We'll put it up on the screen so people can see what the fuck
Yeah.
So,
what I mean, the reason why I'm drawing that as a parallel, which is interesting anyway, is that, I mean, it wasn't like there were Ukrainian soldiers precisely that did it and just, they just wanted to strike a blow for someone. It was like just, okay, for them it was had a strategic gain of getting someone who could, have an effect on the war. But, they missed anyway. And they've been doing that kind of, it is terrorism in a sense. And just as much as that is, not because because even though in this case, your case or what happened now, the target wasn't to terrorize us. That in this case was a side effect, as you're talking it now.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Because they wanted to send a specific message to
this one guy.
To this one guy or girl or whatever, right? Now, the only thing we can have to criticize on a superficial cosmetic base would be, okay, how strong was the explosion? Why didn't you guys, address the bomb to the guy? or why didn't you make sure that the thing wasn't going to be too explosive or too damaging to the people in the neighborhood or whatever? I mean, this is just a stupid way of looking at the thing. In the end, we shouldn't have that kind of problem in the first place. But what I'm trying to say is that, like I was saying, they don't have the expertise right now. They haven't refined that. I mean, you look at if you want to look at it from another perspective, back in the days in the 70s, when Britain had a lot of problems with the IRA, and there was bombs going off left, right, and center, and most of these people had military training. And when you talk about military training, talk about these guys who know demolitions and shit like that. I mean, okay, look at Israel. What did they do with their pages? You know what happened with their thing, the pages that they just blew up and all that. I'm just saying that sometimes some people they can do the targeting properly, and other times it's just kind of just press the button. So let's see what happens. It's not a good thing to have this kind of thing. And it's not a good thing to be in that kind of situation. But, I mean, when I consider how Sweden has been in the last 10 years, the fact that we are actually getting used to it is worrying. You understand?
Yeah.
One of the things I always say is it's not a sign of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society. Our society has been sick for a long time. This kind of shit shouldn't be happening. And here we are discussing, maybe they should have learned how to, how much nitroglycerin they should have put in the bomb so that it wouldn't affect and, send warnings to the neighbors. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Of course not. Well, it's funny you say that because, like, when it happened and when first of all, like I said, my room literally shook.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay.
First of all, your room isn't supposed to go through that kind of. I mean, as they, yeah. So. Like they say in Star Wars, our shield can't maintain that. Exactly. That kind of can't maintain a power of that magnitude or whatever.
I wish I knew what you were talking about there.
No.
I haven't. Look, I'm not a fan of Star Wars, and I don't know what that was. I've seen it, obviously, not all of them, because the first one was they were still using the guillotine while the first one that came out. So it's pretty old. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty old.
Our shields can't repel force of that magnitude. I think so.
Anyway, so yeah, but when it did happen, it was like, I guess it was a bomb, and it wasn't a friendly one.
No.
And by friendly, I mean like construction. I obviously knew that this was something bad.
Yeah.
But I went back. I sat in my room. I sat back in my computer and I was like, still photoshopping like nothing happened. And it's not supposed to be like that.
No, that's all.
That is like we know it's so common now.
That's what I'm saying.
Where we don't actually give a fuck.
Like I said, it's not a sign of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society. It's messed up shit.
It's terrible.
And you, in any normal case, these kind of materials are not freely available to anybody, just anybody.
You don't think there's some components you can buy and you can add them together to create a bomb like that? I mean, it's just like one Google search away.
Maybe, but not that powerful. I mean, you'd have to see how much damage was actually done.
Yeah. Well,
and then again, a normal person doing this kind of stuff. It wasn't like somebody just did it for fun. You understand?
Yeah.
There's always a. It's like the gunshot things that when they talk about these stupid ass gunmen who go into schools and shoot people.
Holy shit! They caught him.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. They got him. Yeah, that's crazy.
I wonder if he's good. I don't think he'll be held responsible, but he's not going to stop.
Of course not.
I don't think. I mean, the guy who actually contracted out or wanted that thing to happen, or the woman or whoever it was wanted it, is not the person who placed the bomb there. You understand? You know?
No.
So he got paid to drop it. He got paid. He got paid. No, he got the guy they've caught, if they caught him, if it's the same person.
Yeah.
That guy, he was paid to drop a package off somewhere and let it explode. He probably didn't even detonate it.
So you don't think there's a fuse? I mean, I don't know.
This day and age,
speculating now. Like we have,
no, we have no obviously to do, but I mean, if he lit the fuse, if he was responsible for the fuse, right, then if he was smart, right, he would have had a long enough fuse and hidden that thing in such a way, if he was smart, that he would be able to walk away and they wouldn't have even be able to film it before that thing went off.
Right.
He should have given him, if he was running, he should have given himself about 2 minutes to run away before that, if he actually was responsible for the fuse. So I would say it could have possibly been remote. It could have been remotely different, and that's not really difficult.
No,
I mean, you dial up something. You mean, fuck it. You could even use Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Or send it like a text message.
Actually, it could have been like you can probably use.
I mean, when you're talking about a fuse, it's like 3 or 5 sticks of dynamite. Really old school analog. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it is that image you get in your head when you're thinking about.
Well,
It's like a fuse, and you light it up, and you just like wait for it to explode. I mean,
the Mission Impossible.
That's how we know. I'm not a professional, but you're clearly a professional when it comes to this.
No, I mean, I'm just
fucking around. Listen, so I want to change. I want to
change subject.
No, not really. I want to move on from the subject, but this is related to that subject.
Yeah, of course. Well, that makes it more juicy.
Exactly. So what was that?
I said that makes it all the more juicy.
Oh, right. Yeah. So about this shit that just happened.
Yeah.
I saw our prime minister. He went out and he said,
he's a fucking idiot. That guy is the biggest. Ulf Kristersson.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that said Israel has the right to commit genocide, but he didn't complete that. He realized he was making a big mistake when he said that, and then he said, self-defense. And that is inexcusable. So I have no respect for him.
Okay, but I think he's before we go to that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, obviously there's a lot
I would fart in his general direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that. we'll get there. I just want to start with this. So he went out, I just saw him post something on Instagram where he was talking about, so there is a lot of things that they're right here in Sweden. The
right? You mean the political right?
Yeah, the political right. That they're saying that is actually pretty good.
Well, anytime, I can understand in any crisis situation where.
First, both sides.
You see, the idiots that politicize these kind of things are stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are cosmetic. And when I say cosmetic, I don't mean in a good way. It's easy to score points. Like, to point and blame. Okay. Yeah. And say who's to blame instead of fixing it so it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. Let's go back to that bomb. Let's say somebody owes somebody money. I think that, for example, when I saw that one that happened around your corner, I think it was about somebody owing, I don't know why, I got the impression somebody owing somebody money. Now, the thing is, I think that most of these people who are trying to get their money back in this current situation, they wouldn't have been that hard up if the economy was a bit better. Now,
think?
Well, you're running a business.
But who do you think? So this is what I want to talk about. Ulf too. It's like he went out and he said, "This is not really related to what you just talked about, but it's related to these kind of crimes.
Go on.
And how it can actually be better if they do this. So if you have he went out. I just saw this recent post where he went out and said, if you have a dual citizenship and you commit heinous crimes,
they'll be able to kick you out.
They will. Well, yeah, I don't know about kicking you out, but they can revoke your Swedish passport.
Kick you out, basically, because if you haven't got a Swedish citizenship,
well, you could stay here and seek asylum and shit.
You see. Here's the thing.
What do you think about that? I just want to know.
I think he's a fucking idiot, and I think that's not going to say anything. I think they're living in the illusion that Sweden is still such a wonderful place. Anybody living here is going to tell you that it's fucked. Okay, it's still fucked.
I love this country, but
no.
I do love this country. I love the memories I grew up with here in Sweden.
This is your childhood. It's your home. You made a home.
It's become this
Yeah, it's what is becoming that I dislike.
Well, well, I think it starts with the Social Democrats. You know, they're not what they used to be anymore.
No, I don't think anybody's what they used to be anymore.
Well, no, not that either. But people got really afraid now.
Well, you know what?
Everybody has a phobia against everything. If you think about it.
Look, ever since Corona started, I'll have one of those snoozes if you don't mind.
Sure.
Ever since the Corona started, there has been a concerted and strong effort to push out a atmosphere of pain, of fear and mistrust and anxiety. People haven't been able to recover. Okay? So when you're pushing out fear, conditioning people, yeah? What's the word in Swedish? I'll try and remind me.
Conditioning people, like in what sense?
Psychologically conditioning.
Oh, so you're like preparing them for see how much they will obey if something happens.
But basically. It's more than that, because even in England now, I mean, when the Corona came out, okay, 2019, and they said, there's a pandemic. It's like it's something you see in the sky written, come pandemic. But it's mental conditioning. Betingande.
Okay.
Yeah?
Well, you know that word better than I don't even know.
Well, you know, what do you have to understand that human beings are kind of smart, okay?
Kind of.
It's relative, but we're kind of smart. But the thing is, there's forces that want to control. Now, Ulf Kristersson is a fucking moron. He's a cretin and a stupid fool, okay? He's a short bastard, and he has no real idea. He's worse than fucking Keir Starmer. Excuse me for swearing, but these are people that they have.
It sounds censored, unfiltered. You can swear as much as you want.
Yeah, is it censored? It's not censored. No. They're fucking morons. Okay, they wouldn't know a good idea, or they haven't had an original idea. I mean, Ulf Kristersson, how fucking long has he been in politics? Since forever. He hasn't had any other job, and the only reason why he actually became elected is because he was the party leader at that particular time. But if you, I mean, it's like, I look at someone like Joe Biden. He was in politics for over 34. What have you done? What did you achieve while you were there? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry. What did you achieve while you were there? Joe Biden did nothing. Right? He's been there for did nothing. Okay?
Well, he just sleep a lot.
I'm drawing a parallel because someone like Ulf Kristersson, you know? So essentially what they're doing now, what the situation that they are in now is like they are actually artificially creating a crisis, not single-handedly, but with the people that they're working with abroad, because he's a fucking slave of whatever's left of America, right?
Who?
Kristersson.
Oh, really?
Well, the government's been captured since Olof Palme died.
Well, you know that, but so see, this is the reason why I wanted you on the podcast, because you know this way better than I do. And this is where the interesting part comes in. So,
Ulf Kristersson.
I want to jump into that, but I just want to ask you one thing before you jump into that. This artificially creation of this chaos that came
it's called problem reaction solution.
And I need to ask you: do you think that evolved from the Social Democrats?
No. You know, well, you see, you're making the mistake of saying that you think.
I'm just asking.
You're making the mistake of believing that the two sides are not the same.
They didn't do shit about these things, and when
you're making the mistake of believing that the two sides are not the same.
Well, no.
At one point, don't get me wrong. At one point, they weren't. Okay, there was a time when Sweden actually was a respectable nation in the sense that they stood for something. This is something I usually say. Sweden hasn't had a backbone since Olof Palme died. Sweden has not had a backbone since Olof Palme died. Okay? Olof Palme died in 1986. Olof Palme was outspoken. He criticized America about the Vietnam War. And who did he have off before that? Dag Hammarskjöld. He was secretary or was some kind of envoy of the UN. He went to Congo. What happened to him there? His plane got shot down in fucking Congo. What about Congo? What is it with Congo? Congo, the richest country on the planet, richest country on the richest continent, Africa. They've got diamonds. They've got lithium. They've got cobalt, okay? These people, their minerals are fueling and enabling people to enjoy the electronic, whatever you call it today.
Cars and all that.
Yeah, they should be fucking rich. Richer than the Arab country, richer than Saudi Arabia and Yemen and all that. Go to that country, see little kids digging in the mud, getting all these minerals for $1 a day. It's bullshit.
Yeah, well, also you got the
hang on. No. Let me. What I'm trying to say is, as long as I've been alive, a country like that has had problems. Okay, and Dag Hammarskjöld, a Swedish guy from the UN, was going there to try and sort things out. His plane was shot down because they didn't want that thing sorted out. See, when you have chaos going on in these places, you can always get somebody. You can always get those resources you're actually going for a cheaper price. It's like Sierra Leone, diamonds, you know? Now, I know I'm going a bit off tangent, but the way I see things now...
It's related,
it's still connected.
Yeah.
Now, Dag Hammarskjöld was killed. Olof Palme, killed. Do you know who the third person was? Anna Lindh.
Right. Oh, bro, you gave me goosebumps. Yeah, I remember when that
Anna Lindh,
yeah,
she was stabbed.
I remember when that.
Who was the vermin?
But this fucking deranged guy, but apparently.
Yeah. I mean, people don't work and say, I'm broken, I'm an alcoholic, and I don't like life. I think I'll go and kill a politician. That doesn't happen.
No, it's too specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the guy who was blamed for Olof Palme's death was some kind of alcoholic guy.
Yeah, Milanovic or some shit like that. I can't remember his name. But I can ask you...
Let's talk about John F. Kennedy.
Oh my God, bro. I was...
You were about to say that.
I was literally about to say that. I was like, don't you think this is oddly similar to...
Well, of course it is. They always take down the people who... I mean, my son, do you know what my son says to me? My son, Daniel, he says, attention is the currency of the ages. Attention.
Elaborate a little bit.
Okay, let me say it in Swedish. Uppmärksamhet är tidens valuta.
That is true, especially with all
consider how much people are getting sticking their faces in there. Or they're sticking their faces in into their phones. Now, while I don't agree with that myself, depends on what you're feeding your brain with. You understand? I mean, you could watch BBC and become a brain dead idiot with all the lies and bullshit, or you could listen to a decent podcast and the fact that people are actually looking for alternative because they're searching the truth, because people want to hear the truth. They don't want to be lied to, you know? So yeah, there's an opportunity. But two things you can be sure of right now. A lot of trust has been lost. And it's going to be really hard to get that trust back. The new mainstream media, the main alternative media as well. There's some of them, there's people posing as main alternative.
Like unbiased media?
Huh?
Are you referring to unbiased media? Because if you ask me, I have this one friend. His name is Nick Alenia. He's actually he's a independent reporter, journalist. He does a great job, and I mean some people call him,
you know when you hear it because
he does his research, like he's on the spot doing his research, and he's like actually filming the truth on both sides. He doesn't only do it from one side.
I mean, okay, let's talk about. So when we talk about media now, like the situation in Gaza.
Right.
The amount of people that have been killed, the amount of people that have died, the amount of people that are missing, the lies told by the Israelis about how this whole thing started. For example, and why I'm bringing this up, what I'm doing is in reflection to what people know. If society was as transparent as it should be, we should know all these things. The Israelis, they have a very high powered, very, very sophisticated security system when it comes to, keeping out the Palestinians or the Arabs or whatever, right? You can't get within 10 meters of that fence without some alarms going off. There's backups, obviously, okay? And as soon as, their response time is like, if soon as something comes, people are there. you know, and they have automated towers. So there's no way, it should be impossible for someone to come by and just clip the things with wires. Now maybe it's just facing forward, but it should also, I mean, if it's sophisticated enough, then it would, even if someone's crossing over on the top without touching it, it'll probably go off, okay? But all of a sudden, you've got these guys coming in and hang gliders and shit and breaking it down with bulldozers and shit, and there was no response. What I'm saying, they let this happen to give them the opportunity to be able to wage that war and kill a whole bunch of people, okay? The hostage situation is basically, you know, that's, as far as they're concerned, is collateral damage. But these are not the real Israelis as much as is the Zionist, what do you call them? The Zionist agenda.
Right. What's the difference between a Zionist and a Jew? Or a Zionist?
Well, if you understand, from what I've so far gleaned, the Zionists are not specifically Jewish or, you know, the Zionists, they call themselves Ashkenazi Jews, all right? And so most of them are from, I think, some part of Europe. However, the thing is, initially, these people, they didn't have a religion. And they were given an ultimatum to choose a religion because they were basically, their modus operandi at the time, before they chose any kind of faith, was that they killed people, took their money, and impersonated them.
And who are those people?
The Ashkenazis, in the area, close to the area of Kazakhstan, not far from Russia. So Russia, they've always hated Russia because Russia destroyed them, just kicked them out of that area. And they spread into Europe. And
what year is this?
I couldn't tell you the year, bro.
Well, almost. Like, you have you don't have to be exact, just like.
Well, it was hundreds of years before Russia became the communist state. Before it even became this. So we're talking about.
Are we talking like the 18th century or like the 19th century?
Way long before that.
Like 17th?
You know what? Like I said, I'm not sure. But but it was way before, at least 200 or 300 years before, possibly.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be able to give you exact, but the root history is that these people rob you and impersonate you. So we're talking about identity theft, but you know, instead of just stealing the identity, they kill the person, take the identity and the money and impersonate. You know, that's the way they used to do. And they caused lots of conflict and wars and shit in that area. That area was unstable.
Yeah.
So the area is partially occupied by Ukraine and Kazakhstan. I don't know. I haven't looked into.
Which area are we talking about right now?
It's you know, couldn't tell you, to be honest. But it's in between Russia, Ukraine, the Baltics, somewhere around that area. It's not that.
Yeah. So let me just to summarize it. You're saying that, like,
what I'm saying is that they
have high security, and which means that if somebody came even close to that gate, they would have known.
Yeah.
And if they let these people in,
they
probably did that to start a war. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There was a couple of Israeli soldiers, IDF people, who actually said that this is messed up. That shouldn't have happened.
I've heard that too. Yeah, I definitely heard that.
So
some people were shocked about like how. And then the question that was out there was, how did they not see this coming?
They were even warned. They even warned.
This is what I've read.
Yeah, they were even warned. And the other thing is, there was obviously going to be some kind of retaliation because I mean, anybody who's been paying even the slightest bit of attention knows that the conflict between Israel and Palestine, or whatever, if you want to call it that, has been going on way before October 7th.
Well, it has.
They've been provoking. And the first thing I was thinking of when this was actually happening was that nutty bitch, I like to call him Nutty Biscuits, Yahudalam, who actually I heard is dead actually at the moment.
Who?
Netanyahu.
Is he dead?
Well, you know, now we're going deep into conspiracy.
Well, that's a vast conspiracy.
No, here, the thing is this. If you believe that people can be if you believe that they can clone sheep, then you can be pretty sure that they can clone or have cloned people with need.
Well, yeah, I did see Joe Rogan was talking about the tall Joe Biden It was like and people know like him at all.
And then they give you in Hollywood has this penchant for giving you subtle tips and hints about things. If you watch any of the Mission Impossible films, and you see them when they put that mask on the people, and then they're wearing that mask. You know what I mean? Have you watched any of the Mission Impossible films or the TV series?
No, not really. I've seen a few of them, the old ones
on the TV.
Yeah.
And they put that mask on and they look exactly like, but what they're actually doing is that same actor who's actually that character is there. But,
right.
What they're saying is they put a mask on and you can't tell the difference. And then there was a CIA person who confessed and said, yeah, they have that ability and so on and so forth. But the other thing is obviously cloning. And for me, the question would be, okay, how will they get the memories of that person? Because that person has to, you can't just look like a person. If you don't know what that person is supposed to know, you can't be a convincing clone or replaced person, So that aside, what I was going to was that the conflict had been raging way before October 7th, okay? The voice being, and it's like, okay, is the Palestinians protest, the kid throws a stick at a soldier, then they send in tanks and blow shit up and say, they're terrorists, all terrorists, And then there's the constant conditioning of the people that they're going to be attacked by the Arabs anytime. They're going to be attacked, and then they're keeping the people in that state of anticipation of an attack. So when it does happen, they're not so surprised and they just fall in line and act accordingly. You understand? I think that that feeling a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A huge shout out to BKM Health by Tolga Duran. He actually gave me these. They're like they get you like
focused.
Oh yeah, well focused. You your mind gets more centrated, ultra focused. It's I really like they. I tried different ADHD medicines, but this one actually is a natural, just natural ingredients like lion's mane and all that.
Natural ingredients.
You actually read about it, but it actually helps me, and apparently it has some effect on you. Anyway, shout out to Tolga and to BKM Health, best supplements ever. But anyway, so what I mean is now yesterday there was ceasefire.
About time after USA denied or blocked 3 or 4 attempts at a ceasefire with veto, even after the casualty had climbed to over 40,000 people killed in Palestine, who the Israelis just conveniently labeled as terrorists.
Well, they call it the Trump effect.
Well, you see, there's another thing.
You don't think he had anything to do with
Trump?
Yeah.
Well, no, they want to make sure that Trump comes in and takes their side, because the Trump we have seen, and by that I mean okay, which Trump? And you say, oh, not again. Well, apparently, I'll give you an idea. Okay, if you look at remind me to explain that, but let's keep on.
Explain what?
What I'm about to explain you about the Trump.
All right.
First of all, Biden wants to leave a mess. He doesn't really give a shit anymore. He's leaving.
Yeah, you could tell that he did some weird shit right before he left, like he's about to leave office. The inauguration is 20th, which is about
what's it, about 5 days? 5 days.
4 days from now, the 20th.
Today's the 15th or 16th?
I think it's the 16th. Yeah, it's the 16th today. So 16th, it's 4 days.
4 days.
His inauguration.
Yeah. So that should be a surprise. Yeah. So.
But his plan the whole time was to see to end the wars and all that, and that's he's been saying that from before the election as well.
The war's not over. The whole Palestine thing is not resolved.
Oh, I know.
It's a ceasefire.
It's a ceasefire, but
it's not resolved.
But they haven't had a ceasefire since it started. So.
You can hardly call it a ceasefire, really, when somebody's just they haven't got. Ceasefire with Yemen, with Iran. It's not even an open conflict, really. It's barely a ceasefire when you just send in tanks to destroy civilians, destroying civilian infrastructure. They haven't got planes or tanks or soldiers to go and fight them back. If one of them pops out and says, "Oh, look, see, they're terrorists," the rockets they were firing before October 7th, they were like fireworks. Basically, barely had any effect. It's like a token form of resistance.
Yeah, the Iron Dome was pretty strong. It captured.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It can't stop a hypersonic missile, though.
No, definitely not.
Anyway, Iran, when I said Iran actually managed to fire a couple of hypersonic missiles, and my belief is that
those were just threats. I mean,
they did fire a couple, there was some damage. But that's the thing about the media we were talking about.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Israel's not going to say how much damage was done. They won't ever. They won't.
Well, there's one thing about. Sorry for interrupt you, but apparently, those missiles were targeted to places where people
strategic
weren't living. I might be wrong. Like I don't know.
Yeah. No, I would.
Iran has this thing where they do that, and they did similar things to. Can't remember what country it was where they sent that. Where they shot out a missile, and they purposely were aiming those at where people weren't living, just as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But they do that shit all the time, from what I've seen.
You know what? I mean, considering what's happened to the people in Gaza, the civilian structures that were destroyed, the hospitals that were destroyed, the schools and universities, and old heritage sites, I'm not saying it's justified, but they're not doing as much damage to Israel as Israel has done to Gaza or Palestine generally. You know, so I mean, you know, if you want to start that kind of a fight, you have to be prepared to take the damage or the fallback. This is why people consider what's going to happen before they get into those kind of messes. But these people, when it comes to the current Israeli management, they're just, everybody's brainwashed into thinking, kill. And you see that in some of the people. I mean, I haven't even looked at it, but I saw some of the ways the way that they were talking about, they're human animals, that kind of thing, and just dehumanizing these people who have a right to defend themselves. They're allowed to resist, and yet it's like, no, you're an animal, just die. You know, no, that's wrong. You know,
yeah,
it's like the world's gone crazy. It's like I said, it's not a sign of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society. It's messed up. It really is. It really is.
My question in my head is like, defend itself to what degree? To what extent do you need to defend yourself? Because now, like for me, like when I see the pictures online, it just looks like Gaza's obliterated. Like, what's the word for it?
And here's another thing.
Obliterated. Yeah.
Here's another thing. The way they described what the people, the Hamas operatives did when they attacked. Okay, I mean, there were Apache helicopters involved in blowing up people who could have been potentially taken hostages. Rather than let these people keep their lives and maybe become hostages, they were killing them. The IDF. The tanks were shooting up houses where they thought they were terrorists. You know, I mean, it's absurd, and yet just to justify and bring a larger volume of carnage and destruction to the whole situation, just say, yeah, we have to go to war to kill these bastards, is crazy. What did they call it? The Samson Doctrine or something like that?
What's that?
It's just something they use to say, well, rather than let an Israeli person be captured, they'll kill that person so he can't be captured and still blame it on Hamas. I mean, it's like Bush saying, with connections to Al Qaeda and ISIS and stuff, and then when you find out that they created these bodies. I think that when it comes to the spiritual side of all things, that the Muslims have been targeted because their faith is more intact than others.
What do you mean by that?
Intact.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Muslim?
No.
But your family?
No.
Okay.
We're Christians, Catholics.
Okay. I've heard the Quran, not all of it, a lot of it. And when you hear it, it's like a song or music. Now, if you know a song and you know the words, yeah, nobody will be able to sing the song to you in a different way. And you say, no, that's the right song. That's the same song. If the words are different, you know it's not the same song. The whole of the Quran is like that. And this is also probably one of the reasons why they sing it the way they do, or they say it out loud. So it's more easy to remember. You can't fake it.
Fake it in what sense?
Like I said, you put different words in. There's probably only one. I think there's only one version of Quran. How many versions of the Bible are there?
Well, that's because there's multiple people writing.
But you understand what I mean? The message gets changed.
That doesn't necessarily mean that. What are you implying?
What I'm saying is that what I'm implying is that because of the strength of that movement of Islam, because of its strength and the fact that it's intact and authentic, there has been a concerted effort to discredit it or to make it into something that it's not.
Well, you do have people that discredit it, and then you also have people that they just don't like those values, and then you have other people they don't like the Christian values, and you got all kinds of people that want to discredit in some way or another. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. It's just that I've heard this argument before where they say there's only one version of the Quran, and there's like multiple versions of the Bible, but there's a explanation behind why there's multiple.
I would say that
they're all pretty much the same, but they're like the Bible from different angles from the different people.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you ask me, the reason I believe in that is because that seems to me
it resonates more. Yeah.
Well, do you have more people involved, saying the same story? You have the Old Testament, you have the New Testament, and you have different kinds of Bibles too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different people mentioning the same thing and different ways. That just confirms things more. If you ask me,
when Jesus came, when God gave the laws or whatever you want to say, when that information was given to mankind, it wasn't meant to be a religion per se.
Yeah,
it was more meant to be a code of conduct. Most of the stories and accounts in the Bible tell you how people reacted to certain situations, which is about life in the sense anyway, that you have to rise above the situation and perform in a positive manner. One of the things I like about the Quran is it says you should not allow yourself to be oppressed. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, when I look at the idea of faith as a whole, the message, the source, the message is the same.
Well, yeah, and it's I guess it's a lot of religions more or less have
the same message.
The same message.
Yeah.
So I'm not an expert on this, obviously.
No.
I wish I was more into.
It's hard. It's hard because I think that particular part is hard because I think if you delve too deeply into it, there's so much context in it that will divide your attention. It's hard to hold on to things.
With Wesley Huff and Joe Rogan. I don't know if you know who Wesley Huff is. He studied the Bible and he studied different Bibles too, like the Quran and all those. And he gives a pretty good. He's really, really well studied guy. He knows everything about it, and also he breaks down the whole Bible. And even debates multiple people about this. He's so accurate in whatever he's describing. I wish I was a little bit more like him, to know the full context of everything, so I can explain to you when you say there's multiple versions of the Bible. I just know there's an explanation behind it. But also for me, if you ask me why I'm Christian, I was brought up with these values where. Always be good to people. Those.
Yeah. Do as you'll be done by. Golden rule.
My father didn't tell me go around and preach about Jesus. And I don't care if you don't believe in Jesus. I don't care if you don't believe the Bible. I don't care if you're an atheist. You know what I mean? I wouldn't necessarily hang out with you because we don't share the same values, and I don't think we can relate to each other as much. But this is the thing too. Just hold on for a second.
No, it's good. No, I wanted to say that thing you said about atheists. I just wanted to interject quickly and say.
See, this is the thing too. I'll let you inject for a second. Just want to finish this shit. See, I only care about treating people good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I care about those the normal values. That makes us human. That makes it don't hate each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, like, that's the only thing I care about. I have my faith. I won't impose it on you or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you don't believe it, I couldn't give a, like, two shits about it. You know? I just believe in what I believe in, and it works out for me. And, you know, that's pretty much it.
You know, a lot of the time I find that when it comes to these people who are calling themselves atheists, the ones I've spoken to, some of the ones, I mean, I didn't know at the time, but I think a lot of the time these people just find that what is presented hasn't convinced them. And so they're waiting for something better. And I'm not saying that they are Christians or Muslims or whatever. I'm just saying that some of them just, you know, in this day and age of, well, even before, of information or misinformation or disinformation or whatever you want to call it, some people just find, you know, it's like they're shopping and saying, what do I want to believe in today? This isn't good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're looking for answers and they find what's available lacking.
Right.
So on the other hand, I have a strong dislike for those so-called Satanists.
Well, obviously, I hate them too.
Well, I don't do hate.
They're lost.
Yeah.
They're obviously lost. You know, I don't get that culture at all. But anyway, I want to take you back to the thing you reminded me of. You told me to remind you about the Trump thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trump.
So explain that.
Yeah. Okay. Trump. Thanks for reminding me. Right. Trump. I think Trump died in a helicopter crash. No, come on. Check out this. He was in a helicopter crash. If you look at him psychologically, if you look at him from a psychological perspective.
Oh, you mean he changed from the his first 4 years and?
No, I mean, the Trump. If I know who Trump was, if you
like died physically,
he died in a helicopter. I'm not saying that he did die, but I'm saying that it doesn't fit the pro. If the one we're seeing now was the one that survived a helicopter crash. I mean, I've never heard him utter
Trump's claim of near-death experience on a helicopter disputed.
If you look at the wreckage of that thing, you'd wonder, how the fuck did anybody actually survive?
Yeah. So when was that?
It was sometime in the 80s.
Willie Brown says Trump helicopter crash story never happened.
Well,
the New York Times.
Yes, there's evidence that there was a severe crash. Okay,
right.
I think that, I mean, at the very least, if he survived that, he should have been severely injured. If it was him, he should have been, knowing him and who he is today.
Yeah.
He should have been talking about it. Otherwise, he would have been either very, very humbled, or then he would be saying, "Oh, I'm invincible. You can't kill me," or something like that. None of that is.
Well, what do you think about?
No, I'm just speculating. This is.
Well, yeah, I know, but what do you think about, like, now when he after its inauguration, when he comes in now for, like, these next 4 years?
This is my question.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Okay, so
I'm just saying which one's gonna come. That's me.
Okay, but with that said, keep in mind, if the other party would win, if the Democrats won, I think that things would look very, very different, because when he's going to get into office now, and when everybody knew he won, it feels like this major shift.
Well, there's a shift happening regardless. There is a shift.
Well, it felt like when it comes to freedom of speech and all censorship and all that bullshit, for me, I know for a fact it would got worse.
Notice how many of these idiots are changing sides as well. Zuckerberg and this other idiot, smelly Musk.
Well, Musk was.
Despite, but here again, I mean, when it comes to he's a guy who's saying, "Oh yeah, he's going on with his Neuralink rubbish and shit." I'd like to ask him a question: would you put a chip in your own brain? Because I wouldn't. I don't think anybody wants to. Okay. But he's pushing this, trying to push this down everybody's throats. There are a lot of things going on that people should be paying attention to, but there's so much other noise that people can't see where the thing is going. But if you join the dots, you see that they're trying to corral everybody into this particular kind of area whereby our creativity is going to be surpassed or subsumed. Because we won't be able to think when you've got a chip in your brain. You won't even know if it's your own idea or
I think about the Neuralink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why AI is dangerous. There's a Russian guy called Isaac Asimov, and he wrote 3 robotic laws.
Yeah.
3 laws of robotics about how AI is supposed to be governed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that should be imposed on anything to do with AI.
Isaac Asimov, the Foundation trilogy.
Robotic Laws.
Yeah, his most famous works were the Foundation trilogy and I, Robot, in which he introduced his famous 3 laws of robotics. On their face, the laws were meant rules for controlling technology. Asimov, however, used them to explore the unintended consequences of technology and how humanity could overcome them. Interesting. I'll definitely look into that.
No, so in my opinion, I think that Musk cannot be trusted.
You don't think so?
Personally, I think he's a reincarnation of Werner von Braun, who helped the Nazis, who helped the USA with their Apollo program. Personally,
yeah,
that's my opinion.
Well, I mean, for now, like, we're just speculating, and, and for these couple of years now, we have to see what's about to come. And but what I'm happy about is this thing where when things become too radical, like the radical left did now, with like they basically like hijacked Democrats and such, or the Democrats hijacked them. Like, I don't know what the fuck was happening there, but it was just going in this direction where it was like becoming really, really. Everybody was becoming really fragile. You know what I mean? Well, everybody was super afraid of saying what they actually believed in and what they thought about or anything like that. You couldn't say anything. And all the social media platforms were super biased.
Yeah.
They were taken over by these retired FBI agents that was working for the Democrats, which, like Zuckerberg explained, basically they were like,
he's an idiot.
Yeah, well,
he's a fucking idiot.
But he's also like, he also runs one of the biggest companies in
America.
Well,
I mean, did he build it himself?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm just saying,
every single. I mean, you can 2 examples: Zuckerberg and Gates. Gates is an idiot. He's a psychopath and he's a germaphobe, in my opinion.
Well, he's obviously trying to kill people. But but when it comes to Zuckerberg, I'm just saying, like, he wants to protect his company, and whatever party is winning, he's going to be obviously on their side. And it was pretty obvious now because, like, after Trump won, he had this like major shift immediately where he's like changing
survival. They're in survival mode. In survival mode.
It's fight or flight. You know what I mean?
But what I was going to say is, like, none of these guys are that innovative themselves, because if they actually created these things themselves, they would have tried to keep it whole and not allow themselves to be repurposed, as I think. For that reason, Gates didn't create the whole Microsoft thing. He just handed on a plate. You know, he's a Rockefeller,
like similar to,
and the same thing with Zuckerberg.
Similar to that, what is his name? How the fuck? How can I forget his name? The iPhone guy, the Apple.
Well, he was actually more original.
Really?
Do you mean Steve Jobs, right?
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, he was a bit more original, and he didn't create a product. He was more concerned with his own hardware, but he got a little bit greedy because he didn't make I won't say greedy, but he got so consumed in its mind.
Yeah.
He didn't allow it to be. I mean, the thing about PCs.
He had the vision, basically.
Yeah. PCs, right?
Yeah.
What I love about the idea of a PC is that you can always buy the parts and build your own PC.
Right.
Okay. When it comes to, but you install Microsoft software, which fucks your shit up, basically. But if you got the tech or the know-how, then you can put Linux or another hybrid system. Okay. Gates didn't deal with his own hardware. He had the software and just made sure it was compatible to that particular hardware that was coming out. And so, he was backed more. It's a bit like the video thing. When video came out, you had the VHS and you had Betamax and you had some other people. Then which one won? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he won, but Gates was a greedy piece of shit anyway, and he wanted to keep it. It wasn't good enough for him to win. He wanted to destroy all the competition at the same time, and that was his downfall because he was too greedy.
Right.
So Zuckerberg, I mean, when it comes to social media platforms, it's like I say, attention is the currency of the ages. Facebook could die tomorrow if everybody moved to a more suitable platform that they thought gave them the way to express. You understand? Yeah. Do you remember MSN?
Oh my God, that was such a long time ago.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Where is it now? It's dead because everybody either went to Skype to Skype.
Facebook came out, so people start using the Messenger.
Exactly. So that's all it takes. A better platform. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially when you have your profile and then you have like the Messenger inside.
Well, I've thought about that. You see, because one of the things I'd like to do is create my own.
Two things combined.
I'd like to create my own platform.
Oh, you would like to create your own?
Yeah, well, I have a computer background. So, I'm looking at building computers and programming and making my own software platform and everything. And that will be, I'll just have a platform that will let people say what they want to say. And then when the attention goes there, then they'll be, let us in, and then they'll be subject to my rules. You know what I mean?
What would you label yourself as?
As a person?
Yeah. Like when it comes to like your line of work or your line of education and so forth.
Illuminator. Source of inspiration, hopefully.
Well, if you ask me, like from the first time I met you, like what I found interesting, like you knew a lot of things about things that normally people don't know about. And there's I would say like it just feels like you know a lot of shit. And
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And it's to this point where people don't actually look into things as much as you do.
They don't look into things as much as they should.
Exactly.
I think
headlines and they just yeah.
I mean, I would say because I don't trust because I'm a black guy. Because we've always been on the bottom of the social thing, and if you're not white, and it's not because I dislike white people, it's not that. It's just that this has been my experience.
Yeah.
One of the things that frustrates me in a sense is the inauthenticity of the current woke agenda. It's like, oh, okay, we're sorry. They could have done this years ago. And even in the current wokeness, they're not actually doing anything to repair the real trauma that took place all those years ago. And by the real trauma, I'm talking about not just about the slavery and the racism that followed after and the persecution, but reparations in the sense of, how they deliberately stopped other countries from developing. There's a book by a guy called Walter Rodney.
Yeah.
Walter Rodney wrote a book about how Europe underdeveloped Africa. Yeah? I haven't read the whole book.
Guyanese historian.
Yeah. He's essentially one of the motivators of the system that we're looking at now has been money and competition. And the modus operandi would be to prevent people from being effectively competitive.
Yeah.
So that has been taking place and continues to take place even till today.
Do you believe in reparations?
I don't think reparations is
going to... Do you think they should do that in the States?
Round about now, I just settle for being left alone to find our way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'm thinking about it in a sense where...
if the American...
slave owners that obviously they're not alive today, and the people that live there today...
But a lot of the institutions that came about because of the profits...
They're still there.
They're still there. Yeah. And that's where, if they were going to... Instead of making people feel guilty... The average white guy feeling guilty because of what his ancestors, whether he knew them or not, or was aware of it or not, is to feel guilty about that. That's bullshit. They're just born into that mess. I'm not saying that they're participants, and they are benefiting from the advantage of being white or having the SAT name or being on that side of the divide, if you want to call it that.
We were talking about the reparations and all that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, like I said, it has to be constructive, okay? And reparations is like saying, oh, okay, we were our bad, we're sorry, blah, 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 blah. It's not, if you want to heal a wound, you actually have to heal the wound. If you apologize, you have to make it sincere, okay? There's a lot of wrong that has been done. You could talk about what happened in Congo, what the Belgians did. You talk about what happened in Abyssinia or Ethiopia and what the Italians did. You could talk about what the Germans did. You can go on and on and on and on and on about what the English did.
Yeah.
Okay? And for one particular group to say, okay, there's the reparations. I mean, the other people who are affected are always going to be saying, oh, what about us? You understand? So right now, I would settle for just leave us alone, let us find our way, because the time you had to actually do something good and say, okay, well, sorry, that time has passed. They didn't do anything. Didn't do jack shit. In fact, they almost accelerated it, but in a covert way, by directly or indirectly preventing these nations from blooming or progressing. Okay, so fuck that shit. You know,
you're saying they should have done that way earlier if they want.
If they were actually had a good human consciousness.
Well, I agree with that, because like now it's like so far past that time, and who's gonna pay that out?
Exactly,
like, you know what I mean?
and they're fucking broke anyway. Yeah. And the other part of it is that it's always been like a carrot they've been dangling. You know, it was in the air about reparations. Reparations is also an American concept. The idea is not like the British. Well, the Americans, you know, they had this 40 acres and a mule thing that they were going to do to give people to get back on track and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. If you give a guy a burger when he's hungry, he eats that burger, it's gone. But if you show a guy how to fish, he'll be fed for life.
Yeah.
You know? So what I'm saying constructive is ways to make sure that these things are actually...
So you believe in educate people more and make them more strong and more independent, and to
so they
find
can
their line of work and what to how
something like that. Not specifically that way, but in that thing, so they won't have to be dependent, because one thing they want is dependence on them.
Right.
So that they'll be the source of whatever.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Like giving people instead of like reparations, maybe give them a better chance to succeed in life by giving them maybe free education or things like that, or like cheaper education. I'm not a politician. Like I wouldn't know.
You don't have to be, but when you talk about it, you're right. No.
Like there's so many ways to do the reparations. That doesn't have to be money.
Exactly. What I wanted to say was that, and remind me to come back to about that money thing. What I wanted to say was that when you want to, if you're planning to make sure that something works, you do it in the best and optimal way possible. Now, when it comes to this particular situation, there has been conditioning taking place for a long time. It's like they say, Muslims are terrorists, you know? I mean, Muslims are all over the world, you know? But because it's been going on for so long, like Goebbels was said, if you tell a big lie long enough, it becomes a truth in a sense. People accept it. I don't believe all Muslims are terrorists.
Of course not. I mean, it's a small portion, and
and many of them don't even follow the proper content.
I grew up with a lot of Muslims, and I never seen like terrorist acts with them. I never seen any bad behavior from them at all. They've been actually really good friends. And,
exactly.
I learned to grow up with them, and we were in the same neighborhood, and they were really. When it comes
to Africans, they're stupid and lazy. That's what they say. I mean, they don't say it in every single way, but they're just, uneducated maybe, or blah, 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 blah. And this kind of sets not so much of a precedent, but it gives you a wrong image.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Americans were not going to tell you how badly they got their asses kicked in Somalia, for example. They'll never tell you, you know? But they'll call them skinnies and blah, 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 and all this. There's a certain kind of, lack of a better word, white supremacy and the attitude that follows that has a way of painting an image. We're the good guys, you know, we can't do anything wrong. But look at how long since after the Second War, how many wars have been fought? How many wars have they been involved in if they're for peace and democracy? How many wars have there been in? About 56.
But sorry, but I really don't think that's a white thing.
No, it's not. It isn't. It's not specific. It is an attitude. Exactly.
Good people.
Yeah.
It depends on where the interest lays.
Here's the thing. Modus operandi, the method that they do shit, it's divide and conquer. So when you take a particular thing that is different or perceived different and make that an issue, say it's because he's black or it's because he's Chinese, it's because, you understand? And people buy that because it's something they can see and relate to quite quickly. And then it becomes a tool. It's like politics, in a sense. Mm-hmm. In America, you've got Democrats and Republicans, and they're fighting each other. But there's somebody else pulling both strings of both parties.
Well, that would be the investors. That's why I believe that.
What did you say?
The investors.
Well, it's bigger than that, you see.
It probably is, but
it's a lot bigger than...
when it comes to the Democrats, they're obviously somebody else is pulling those strings.
Well, it's the same. It's the same with the Republicans.
It is, but when it comes to this is just my feeling. I might be wrong, but when it comes to Donald Trump and how he ran his campaign and the way he ran his presidency, that felt more genuine. I don't know why. It could be that he says whatever the fuck he wants. Nobody, no politician talks like that. He doesn't follow the guidelines.
No.
He doesn't follow any rules.
No,
and for me, that is human. I like human.
No, I agree. I haven't met him. I haven't looked into his eyes. I haven't shook his hand. And I would like to know the real one. You understand? I would like to know the real one. And from what I've heard, there's more than one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that sounds crazy, and I know that maybe many people are not ready to accept it. But the one
I can't accept that.
I understand, and I'm not trying to push it down your throat. But all I'm saying is that, like they say in the Bible, by their fruits you shall know them. You understand?
I don't. Explain that.
By their fruits you shall know them.
By their fruits you should know them.
Fruits, as in fruit, that's an apple.
I know, fruits, yeah.
So, we have to see, I think that... for example, when it comes to the differences between the Republicans and the Democrats or Labour and the Conservative Party in the UK. I mean, in the UK, for example, now the Labour Party is just picking up where the Conservatives left off.
Well, Andrew Tate is running for Prime Minister now. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. I mean, I try not to just submerge myself or immerse myself in the news. I try not to because it's just. I mean, you notice that the people that when somebody gets up and says, "Okay, I'm going to make a difference," and then they're really, really making a difference. Then all of a sudden, somehow, they get sidetracked or stopped. What was the name of that guy in Pakistan? The guy was a cricket player. Some Khan or something. I don't know. He was a really good. He could have done something for Pakistan. Everybody knew him and they loved him. And then he was jailed for some stupid reason.
Imran Khan.
Yeah. Another. Look what's happening in Georgia. Yeah. The new party that wanted to get out of NATO, wasn't so pro EU, wanted to be friendly with Russia, and the West is like, oh, those elections were rigged and stuff. You can see that there's something's going on whereby the people that are supposed to be helping, the choice that the people actually made, and want to properly make a difference and could actually, calm that particular region. They're being stopped because there's another agenda in place. They want to do something else there, and that would stop them from their ultimate goal. I mean, Ukraine is a lost cause right now,
Yeah, the fact that they're painting up this picture, this is what I've noticed when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, where when you go into social media and then news outlets and all that, you only see videos where the Ukrainians are killing Russians and sending drones and all that, but you never see any videos of Russians attacking Ukrainians.
Even though the Russians are winning.
Exactly. And this delusion where they seriously think that Ukraine would win.
Or can still win, but that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It can happen. It can't happen.
And then you got people.
It's not possible. They don't have enough manpower to do that.
They ain't got enough people.
Well, yeah, but they're painting up this picture where they're making it look like Ukraine are winning.
Actually, has a chance.
Well, I mean, it's so delusional.
It is.
Everything on the news is saying that Russia uses old shit. You know what I think? I think they're just using this trash shit they have.
This is called propaganda.
I know.
This is called propaganda. This is called trying to control.
I'm not taking sides. I'm just
saying no. Exactly. I'm just saying, and it's not. It's like. They're trying to control the narrative. And this is why people flee. This is why the media the mainstream media has no credibility left.
Well,
this is why
people don't trust it. Especially after Trump. it died. He was one of the key factors.
He was instrumental, but I wouldn't say. I mean, in my case, I mean, even when Trump came in and won power,
it was just a matter of time.
Yeah. It was a matter of time. He just happened to be at peace.
I think platforms like TikTok and like podcasts and things like that.
They even attacked the platforms holding the truth.
Well, they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's why when Mark Zuckerberg came out now. And he said that, they've been like fucking with us, and then been trying to ask us to take down like actual facts and things like. You motherfucker!
He was there. Yeah, exactly.
You're coming out and complaining about shit. You allowed them to do
exactly. I mean, he I mean, that's why I don't trust him. He's how would I describe it? In Swedish, they say "han vänder kappen efter vinden." Liksom.
Yeah,
he just follows the wherever the things go.
He folds his trench coat after the wind. If you would say it in English. He turns the coat after the wind.
He's not to be trusted. No. The guy at one point said,
he only cares about his company. He doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't. He barely. I don't think he barely gets it. He doesn't. I mean, the thing is, when you have the thing that is of value, which in this case is money, and you know how much you can do with that money, that resource, from an economical perspective, the cash resource. Then you just know that you can either buy. If you have that mentality that I can buy my way in. And then, he doesn't worry too much. He just, if he just wants to, he just wants to make sure that he still remains relevant.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
When actually, if you are actually authentic in your belief and what you do, you actually try to connect. And if there's one thing that is lacking in society today, is a lack of connection. There is a big disconnect. There is a lot of disconnect. There's a disconnection from reality, and there's a disconnection from each other.
Well, it's definitely disconnect between reality, and I've been noticing that for a fact. I mean, it's I've seen that a lot, especially here in like Swedes. They're like so. I just feel like they're so deranged. Like it's insane how delusional they are. That people believe that this is like these mask mandates, or like stay inside, or like if you're gonna
that's conditioning.
Food, pull down your mask.
That's conditioning,
bro. Like that was like, if you ask anybody today, like, do you remember these times, 2019 till 2022, how long that fucking pandemic was going? Like, don't you guys like think it's a little bit weird how weird everything was?
I do indeed. But let me mess with your brain a little bit more. When you think from a psychological perspective, what's been going on the last 20 years, conceptually and theoretically, we haven't even fully recovered from Donald Trump's first presidency.
Recovered in what sense?
Well, to process what happened. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, that was the golden era of content.
What I'm saying is that we haven't fully processed it. And the idea, I think, from the perspective of the guys, or the evil elites, or whatever you want to call them, who are just manipulating everything, there's so much information, so much being processed. We haven't finished processing that. And we're giving more and more and more and more and more, even till today, Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you barely had time to wipe our asses before more shit comes out. You understand?
That's true.
So I'm not saying that he's not the answer. Trump, I don't believe he's the answer. He's still playing an important part, and he's trying to stay relevant. I want to see which Trump emerges and gets sworn in, or who's going to take up presidency.
I want to have a podcast with you after inauguration. Where we discussed that.
Well, no, I mean, the inauguration ain't gonna say shit until give him his first 100 days. Give him his first 100 days. Yeah. But I mean, it's not even all about him either. It isn't, okay? Because at the end of the day, as far as I can see, it's not him. It's America wants to still stay relevant. And with BRICS coming up, I would like to see America knocked off. It's not out of malice, but America is not shouldn't be leading the world. Okay, I mean, you need to have
who should.
It's not about who. It's about I think BRICS will do a better job.
BRICS.
BRICS.
What's BRICS?
BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the BRICS alliance. You know what the BRICS? You don't know what BRICS is?
No, I don't.
They want to create a multipolar society and stuff. What I'm saying is that, for example, now let's look at the UN. Most of these crooked countries, Britain, America, France, they have permanent council. They have permanent seats on the UN Security Council, and all of them have had questionable conduct throughout that time. Let's look at America, vetoing the hell out of the seat, so that they were unable to implement a ceasefire in Gaza, way before the death toll reached to 44,000. It's probably 50,000 now. I don't know how many people have died in Gaza. And each time they said no, they vetoed the decision without giving specific context as to why.
Right.
But they just stopped the peace processes that they were trying to make. Okay, so they shouldn't be there are countries that Africa should have a permanent seat on the council, in the Security Council, if that was to be. I mean, if every member nation should be have an equal partnership, then Africa, which is about 52 countries, why wouldn't they have a permanent seat on the council? China's got one now, So yeah, I mean, when I think about the UN, the organization as a whole, the idea was good to get everybody gathered to consider world the situation and chart out a good way to fix shit and stuff. Not like telling you exactly what to do, but how we can address certain things. Mm-hmm. But when you have other nations with their own particular agenda, and when I say other nations, it's hard to discern. It's hard to differentiate between the country itself and the people, because not everybody in that particular country agree with what their country's leaders are doing. You understand? So, you go, Russia's bad because of Putin. Doesn't mean every Russian is bad. And the same thing applies to America and Britain and France and so on.
Well, that's the picture they've been painting up, like, to Swedes and whole Scandinavia, like in the whole world, where all the Russians are bad. Oh, there's this Russian submarine in our ocean.
Yeah.
This image has been like painted up for so many years. And building up this tension about the Russians, which I don't personally agree with, because I know a lot of Russians and I've been to Russia and
you have.
I don't see this picture they're painting up. I'm just saying that.
No. Yeah.
It's like it's so exaggerated.
But see, when you control the media, like it is controlled today.
Swedes are afraid of them controlling their media, but they're doing the exact same thing here, where they are controlling exactly what you need to hear. And every newspaper here, every news outlet are fucking biased to the left.
Yeah. A newspaper or the media is just supposed to be giving you the facts without trying to manipulate your thought process.
Well, that's obviously not the case here.
Exactly.
That's obviously not the case here. And I'm happy to see that they're, I don't know if that's the case, but like they're actually talking less shit. Like, so where this got me wondering was where when Trump came out, I didn't like him at all, and I was like, and I don't know, because like I was reading the newspaper like every other idiot here in Sweden, but after a while I was like, is it really possible that this guy is so bad, but they're still voting for him? Is it really like how come they're only talking shit about him and they're not writing one single thing that he does that is good? I don't believe that. There's something fishy going on.
There is a lot of fishiness going on.
So
first of all, the people on your opposing side, and I say that in quotes, they're a bit scared because their skeletons are going to come out of the cupboard. But it doesn't necessarily mean that guy's much better.
Definitely not. But I'm just saying, like, if they can do this to this one guy that they don't like, let's say somebody else comes in that is actually good, but they don't like him. They will do the same thing.
Of course they will.
And that's my concern.
Yeah.
That is my concern.
Yeah.
My concern is not about Trump. It's just like what they can do to somebody they don't like.
Have you heard about something called Project Mockingbird?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what it is?
I'm not totally familiar with it, but I've heard it.
Mockingbird was an operation by the CIA in which they actually used the newspapers, media, and stuff to put out the message that they want people to get, what they want them to think. You know. So yeah, at BBC they've got their what do they call it? They've got something called BBC Media Action.
Yeah.
You heard about the white helmets in Syria?
No. Well, yeah.
You heard about. They were the ones who were saying, "Oh, Assad had chemical weapons, and you know," but they couldn't find anything, you know. But they don't retract that shit. It's like Michael Jackson, you know. They were saying, "Oh, Michael Jackson, he did. He abused kids, blah blah blah." That was going on. And if you think about what did Michael Jackson abuse kids, it was actually later found out that people who were supposed to have had that done those accusations, they said, "Okay, well, it actually wasn't true." There's not been a retraction. A lot of the time when the opposite is proved to be true to the lies that the media is told, they will say, okay, yeah. But they won't put as much effort into reversing that information or that perception of that event. They'll just leave it like that. Okay, oh, our bad, and that's it. You know, not even our bad. They'll just, okay, that happened. And then they don't take it back. You understand? It's like John F. Kennedy, whose head was obliterated by one bullet.
The magic bullet.
Yeah, the magic bullet. It's a lie. There's probably more than 3 people that shot his head.
Probably.
I mean, you see him. If you look at the fucking video, you can see he gets hit twice. One bullet ripped out his throat. The other one smashed through his forehead. That's not one bullet.
No. Well, that whole thing is fishy.
Of course it is.
But I mean.
But the thing is, the reason why they said one bullet was because Lee Harvey Oswald was killed for that.
Yeah.
But the guy who killed him got killed in turn.
The domino effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it remains. I mean, I'm more when it comes to I would love to talk to you in another episode because we're running out of time right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about this in another episode where we dig into the JFK assassination, especially that one.
I don't know specifically enough about it. What I do know is that I'll just say there's a strong
releases those files.
Here's another thing. Tesla, and I'm not talking about Trump. I mean, I'm not talking about Musk, who just jumped in and took over that. I'm talking about Nikola Tesla. Yeah. He found free energy and stuff, and it was one of Trump's, either his uncle or somebody who actually had the
formula.
Well, not the formula. He was he took over what was confiscated by the FBI.
Yeah, that was the blueprints.
I don't know if it's blueprints or formulas or whatever.
He was a smart guy, Nikola, but it was it just feel
he was
he was going with it was like I think that could cause some problems with like transferring electricity the way he wanted to. It
wasn't a problem per se. The thing is, they always wanted people to pay for energy. Yeah. And that way they wouldn't be able to tell people to pay for energy. It's like the hydrogen thing that's trying to emerge right now. You understand? Mm-hmm. Hydrogen is easily extracted from water. Okay? Now, hydrogen, people wouldn't have thought of water as a fuel, but the Russians detonated a hydrogen bomb at one point. I can't remember when, but this bomb was the most powerful nuclear or atomic device that had been witnessed. Now, hydrogen intentionally it wouldn't give you any radiation, but there was a lot of devastation. It was really, 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 really powerful. Even today, even today.
Wasn't Fat Man was a hydrogen bomb, right?
I'm not sure.
Or Little Man.
That sounds American.
Oh, that was the one.
No, the Tsar. They called it Tsar bomber. That's what Tsar bomb. The Tsar bomb. That was. I think that was the. I think that was. Bomb. I think that was the hydrogen bomb. I don't know. You can check it out.
The Tsar bomba is the. Let me check it out here. I think the Tsar bomba is. Megatons. It's 50 megatons. So it's.
Was it the hydrogen?
It's for
American hydrogen, Russian hydrogen bomb. What was it called? Doesn't matter, but.
Hiroshima. I don't know if it's a hydrogen bomb. Is Tsar bomba a hydrogen bomb? It was a 3-stage hydrogen bomb.
The point I'm trying to make was that we discovered that water could be used as fuel because hydrogen is abundant in water. Now, the thing is, rather than say, okay, let's use hydrogen small scale for powering vehicles or blah, 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 they decided that it was such a dangerous material that, we have to have it in hydrogen cells. You understand? The thing is, they always want to give people, find a way to make people pay for something. So they'll pay for the infrastructure necessary to utilize that resource. Okay. If you had HOD,
and what's that?
It's hydrogen on demand. It's something I came up with. It's called HOD.
Okay. Well, wait. If I'm not mistaken, is it true that somebody was trying to make a hydrogen powered car?
It's happened. People have made it. It's been happening. They use hydrogen cells. You see.
Well, the guy that did that,
he got killed.
In a meeting, he ran out and he's like, "They're trying to poison me." And
well, of course. It's the same with the guy, one of the guys who discovered the cure for cancer. And I can give you details of it. In which I could give you details of that.
We gotta save this for next.
Okay. Well, just remember. Yeah. Okay. So HOD is the system I've come up with. It's a way of doing onboard electrolysis. In which case you'd be producing hydrogen as you need it in a small reservoir. And you could basically piss in your tank and extract the hydrogen and drive your motor. Basically, the only thing you'd need to reconsider would be if the engine can actually take the power, But essentially, they just want to keep you poor so that you become dependent. But if you're driving your car, which extracts hydrogen from water, you could drive it on a rainy day and your tank is empty and then you get fuel up. It's Or you could even just take polluted water and drive your car, and the people that polluted that water will be paying you for cleaning up their shit.
That's true, yeah.
You see, they always want to keep the guy down. They want to keep you down. They want to keep you poor. They want to keep you dependent. But if you're not,
they want to keep you. They want to keep you paying for.
Paying for stuff.
Yeah. That's obvious.
There was a philosopher. I'm trying to remember something began with Maslov, yeah?
Mazeltov.
No, not Mazeltov. Maslov. He described a pyramid in which, people get out of this system of being dependent and worrying so that they actually have time to realize or come out of this where they can come into self-insight and flourish, basically. Okay, and if you don't have to worry about food security, wealth, and if you're not worrying about some of these 3 things like where to live and work and shit, then you can actually start thinking about, okay, how do I become a better person? Or you understand?
Yeah.
Especially if your world life isn't under threat. But if you look at our history the last 50 years, everybody's worrying, and in fact, it's been getting worse. It hasn't gotten better, even despite the technological development that's taken place. Well, everything's been getting worse. My dad used to work nights. He used to talk about how much he was suffering and shit, and he always used to talk about how hard things were, and you people have it easy. And for a while, we did have it a little bit easier, but I'm the same person now, and shit's gotten worse, you got people who've gotten degrees in left, right, and center, and they're working at fucking McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen that from
on another note, around the corner now, we've got AI taking all the jobs that people would probably want.
Well, definitely helped me with creating images for my tattoos and things like that. So
no, I hear you. I don't dislike AI, but people have. I think that in order to diffuse the anxiety and possible fear, people have to delve more deeply into the idea of programming.
Yeah,
it's also a double risk because some malicious idiot might program something that's pretty terrible. We've seen people doing their ransomware and shit.
I'm really excited to see where the AI is gonna go now, and
I think
where everything's gonna go now. And I'm really
It is exciting.
You never know where it goes, but there's also that thing where like these 4 years is going to come now. There's going to be a lot of changes and to the world, and with the new administration, how it's going to affect Sweden, how it's going to affect the rest of Europe, and how these wars going to resolve. I'm really interested in seeing that, and I would love to get back here and talk to you about that when that happens. Because
just quickly about Sweden, though. They're trying to condition people into believing that we're going to be at war with Russia.
Well, they've done that for a long time.
But it's a bit
people actually buy into that shit.
Yeah, and I think they've had this erroneous idea that a lot of the immigrants are going to be so grateful that they've actually been able to live here that they'll just be ready to pick up guns and start fighting. But what they don't realize is that the so-called promised land of Sweden is not 100% or not even 50% what it could have been or was, say, 20 years ago.
Well, I think some of them are like, I don't like the fact that they're selling their companies as soon as they become really big, like Volvo or like or like like Swedish Match just got bought up by Philip Morris now. And,
they make cigarettes.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Well, but that's the thing. As soon as you make a company here and it becomes big, and you start to get into the States, that's when you become a threat, and they want to buy it immediately.
Oh, of course, that's what Bill Gates did.
That's how you fuck up our economy. You sell like our biggest companies, and to the fucking Japanese, and God knows what. So it's like so easy for them to sell. Like they don't care. They just want to live in their bullshit house in Spain and have a good time, and whatever it costs.
You know that Microsoft bought up Skype, right? Long time ago.
They probably did. I have no idea.
Microsoft bought Skype. Skype was Swedish.
It was?
Yeah. It was Swedish.
Well, there you go. That's what it just proves my point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's
But the thing is, Skype is not even half as popular as it was back then.
Not anymore. No. They just bought it to kill it.
Well, not to kill it. They wanted. There's probably. MSN Messenger actually had a voice transmission over. What's that thing? What's that? There's a protocol in IT to use a free transmission of voices and images. I can't remember what that protocol was. It's not TCP. I mean, that's the internet protocol. But there's a VoIP, voice over internet protocol. Yeah, and could have because So what happened was that. The MSN version really sucked because of programming or whatever.
Oh, I got some good nostalgia from there.
Yeah. No, MSN was good. I mean, you didn't necessarily use it. Yeah. The
log in, log back off. In,
and you could see everybody. You know.
Oh yeah. You pop up immediately.
If you met someone, you on MSN, and you search them, and you find them, and you just like, blue. Yeah. But
I had my first crush there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so it was really cool. And then it died and then they bought Skype, and then Skype was okay, but then it died. But one of the things they made a mistake was that people couldn't use the identities or the profiles they had on Skype. Right. They had to create a new profile, and you probably lost your contacts and shit. And so, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like I say, if another better platform comes along, people will just leave that shit. People leave that.
It remains to see. I mean, it remains to. How do you say it? It remains to see.
Yeah. By the fruits you shall know them.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, man.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I'm really excited for
part 2.
Part 2. Yeah. So I'm gonna on this one when I put it out, I'm gonna type part 1.
Okay.
And we have to continue on this because I know that, this was a really good conversation because it was like flowing really good, and my producer's like, try to speak as less as possible. Make your guest speak more than you. It was like, and that's where I really tried this time, you know what I mean?
But I think if it's a good exchange, if it's a good exchange, you'd always, I'll be bouncing off you, be bouncing off me, I'll be bringing up things that you thought, and then it kind of it contributes to the tapestry of the conversation. So rather than an argument, it becomes a picture that people can relate to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, you know.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Let's cut it. Thank you for coming.
No problem. No problem.
Welcome to the mind where the sparks ignite. Castles in the brain built from sheer might. Journey through thoughts, take a fearless flight. Mental empire in sight is dynamite.